Am I the idiot for not paying the kids that shoveled my driveway? Hello. I am one of the many in the Midwest hit by the snowpocalypse. I think we got like 14 inches where I live. I also want to preface this with, I don't like kids. I don't hate them, I just don't have any experience with kids and haven't felt the need to produce any of my own. 26 female. I work from home and received a knock at my door today. There was a group of like 4, 12-year-old-ish boys, and they had shoveled my driveway and sidewalk and were now requesting payment. They expected $15 each. I was really confused because they never knocked to ask if they could shovel my driveway. They just did it without asking and were expecting to be paid. I was really just dumbstruck and kind of said, I don't have any cash, and one of them pulled up a smartphone saying they had their mom's Venmo account. Again, me just being extremely confused, I started saying that I never agreed to pay them for anything. I was going to shovel my driveway at lunchtime. If they had asked, I would have said no. The kids got really upset, and were like, "You're not going to pay us for our work?" But again, I didn't ask them to shovel my driveway. They started yelling at me and I just kind of shut my door. Fast forward a couple of hours, their mom comes and knocks on the door. I open it and she started screaming at me for not paying their kids. Her points were, it's only $60 and clearly not going to break me, not wrong. They put in the work and should be paid. Her boys did a nice thing for me. She was proud of her boys for using their snow day to help people, and I was being really ungrateful and going to make them turn to drugs next time. This is where I started to get kind of mad. I said that I never asked for their services, and it was nice that they shoveled my driveway, but I never agreed to pay them and they really should have asked first. She insisted I pay them this time and they'll ask in the future. But I don't want to reinforce bad behavior. Just because they're children and people feel the need to let them get away with whatever, this is just not a cycle I want to perpetuate for these kids. You can't manipulate people into paying you for something they never asked for. I don't know, so far I've refused to pay and I'm now getting torched on Nextdoor for being a heartless monster who took advantage of children. So I'm turning to you, Reddit, am I the idiot here? If I am, I'll just pay them, I guess. I don't know if I'm not seeing the situation clearly because I just don't have any experience with kids. Edit to add. A few people don't believe that I did not hear them shoveling. That's a fair thing to be suspicious of. So we did get 14 inches, but my husband and I shoveled yesterday. I'm not sure how much we shoveled versus what was left, but these kids did not shovel 14 inches on their own. My home office is in the far back of our house, overlooking the backyard. It's the furthest back you can get and still be inside. And 90% of the time I have headphones in for meetings or music. So I really didn't hear them. Other question is my driveway length. It's a 2-car wide driveway, and it's probably 2 cars long. It's pretty standard, so I also felt like $60 was outrageous. Not the idiot. This is insanity. These kids are going to turn into the kind of salesmen that think sales is all about tricking people or pushing them into a corner to make a sale, instead of building relationships and establishing a sustainable value-based relationship. This is psychotic, Nextdoor is trippin', the mom needs a reality check, and $60 from you is not in these little hustlers' future. Not the idiot. There was no verbal agreement, therefore you owe them nothing. She's the idiot for thinking that helping people means doing a nice thing and then demanding payment. Perhaps you should go to her house, return the favor, hit her with her own logic. Not the idiot at all. They were tricking you into paying them. Then they brought mommy to come make you feel bad. I love how mom says her boys were doing a nice thing for you. Doing something nice isn't doing it without asking then demanding payment. Doing something nice is doing it, letting you know and not demanding payment. The people on Nextdoor are all enablers. Not everyone can afford $60, so that was very rude of the mother and the people on Nextdoor to assume you would pay up. Maybe they'll learn their lesson about asking first. Am I the idiot for asking that my daughter not share a room with a special needs kid? I, 35 female, have 4 kids, 10 female, 6 male, 4 female and 1 female. Our eldest, Izzy, is 10. She is a doll. My son, Luke, has autism and ADHD and while lovable, can be a bit of a handful at times. Therefore, Izzy is witness to both the fun and not so fun parts of neurodiversity and has developed saintly patience and a knack for helping special needs kids with a sense of maturity beyond her years. Particularly notable is her kindness with Maisie, a girl in her class with autism and severe anxiety, which has worsened as a result of the tumult of the last few years. Izzy's help to Maisie has been brought to my attention before, and I am a super proud mama. Next weekend, the school is taking my daughter's class on a trip, and on Thursday, Izzy's teacher asked her to be in a room with Maisie, saying it would make Maisie happy. Maisie has intense separation anxiety and has never been away from home before, but framing it as a choice. Always obedient and wanting to do good by her teachers, Izzy agreed but came home crying, saying that she didn't want to be with Maisie, because she wanted a break from having to be stressed so others can be happy. This made my heart break, and I know more than anyone that my daughter deserves a chance to be a kid, as in all the lockdowns, she didn't have her usual outlets of sports clubs and had to spend a lot of time with a cranky Luke, whose routine had been destroyed, and a toddler who was very excited to have her big sis at home. While my husband and I always tried to do one-on-one activities, it admittedly got harder once his furlough ended and I unexpectedly got pregnant with our youngest. Luke also found the baby difficult sensory-wise, so whichever parent wasn't tending to the baby often had to be elsewhere, with Luke meaning not as much attention was on Izzy as we would have liked. I feel so bad that my daughter has had a rough ride, and frankly want to give her a chance to be a little girl instead of an adult. I contacted her teacher, who is aware of the situation with Luke, who agreed that letting Izzy have a break would be a good thing. Today the school spoke to Maisie's mom, informing her of Maisie's room on the trip. I know the girls in the room and they are lovely, but she was clearly unhappy. She asked me to ask Izzy again. When I said that it was her choice and I have to respect it, she sent a tirade on how I was bringing Izzy up to be intolerant, how Maisie will feel that Izzy has abandoned her, and how I would feel if it is my son. She is now considering pulling Maisie out of the trip as she feels she would not cope with her separation anxiety without Izzy. My husband thinks that it is the school and Maisie's mom's job, not Izzy's, to accommodate her, but her comments are ringing in my head. After all, I am not just Izzy's mom, but also Luke's, and, as much as I worry about her missing out, I worry about him being isolated too. I know exactly how Maisie's mom feels, and how much it sucks, yet I am not doing the one thing to alleviate her pain. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. I noticed you said. I know exactly how Maisie's mom feels, and how much it sucks, yet I'm not doing the one thing to alleviate her pain. The thing is, you wouldn't be the one doing the thing that would help Maisie. Izzy would, and she wants a break. In my opinion, you did the right thing. Who the heck puts this kind of pressure on a little kid? Maisie's mom should be thankful OP raised her daughter to be compassionate and patient on the day-to-day. But for freak's sake, she's a little girl. I have no doubt Maisie's mom was hoping for a break, and I get wanting your kid to have as much normalcy as they can, but dang, not at the expense of a child. OP, your daughter is wise enough to tell a trusted adult she needs a break. Your 10-year-old established boundaries. You reinforced that and taught her self-care and boundaries are necessary. You also taught her that her trust is well placed. It is not her job to set herself on fire to keep others warm. This is solid, grade A parenting, and deserves a standing ovation. Not the idiot by any stretch. Not the idiot. Special ed teacher with ADHD and dyslexia here. Pairing students together to help with assignments is a good strategy and can be a great learning tool. Pairing students so that an unhealthy codependent relationship is formed so that one student succeeds while the other struggles is not an accommodation. I work with my students all the time to push them out of their comfort zone in a healthy way and in a safe learning environment so that unhealthy codependent relationships do not form. Students, especially neurodiverse students, need to learn healthy coping strategies and how to be independent in uncomfortable times or spaces. Forcing another student to be an accommodation for a student is setting the student up for failure. OP, what if your family moved? What if Izzy is no longer in classes with Maisie? What happens then? Does Maisie stop going to school? Does Maisie stop progressing? Izzy cannot be the coping strategy. Izzy is a peer. Izzy can be a place where Maisie practices social skills and other coping strategies that are appropriate to practice with peers, but Izzy cannot be the coping strategy. Maisie's mom needs to hear this. The teacher or child study should have this conversation with Maisie's mom. The teacher should have never put Izzy in this position. Am I the idiot for wanting my sister to pay me back for the cans her kids stole from my shed? This happened yesterday. When I came home from work, I noticed my shed door was open and the padlock that I used to keep it shut was broken. And I had a lot of bags full of soda cans in there. I tend to drink a lot of soda, so I've built up a lot of cans. And I was going to cash them in at the bottle drop soon. There was more than just my cans missing from the shed too. I was missing some gardening tools, a machete, and a gas can. I went to check my security cameras and early in the morning right after I left for work I saw my 3 nephews break into my shed using a hammer to smash the lock, and taking the cans, as well as the other stuff. I called my sister and she and her husband denied their kids did it. Till I showed up at their house with the footage from my cameras. They were furious with their kids for robbing me and skipping school to do it. I got the other stuff back. The gas can was emptied though, but they'd already cashed all of the cans. I wanted the money from the cans and my nephews had already spent it all on video games and junk food. I demanded to know how much they got from the cans and it was nearly $200. I told my sister she now owes me over $200 for the cans and the broken padlock. My sister and brother-in-law went from being angry at their kids to making excuses for them, and then being angry at me for wanting that money back when I know they have 3 kids and a mortgage. I said it was either that or I go to the police and press charges. They told me to get out, and I said they have 2 days to decide how to pay me back before I go to the cops. My nephews are thieves and have stolen from me before. That's why I got the cameras. What my nephews did was most definitely wrong. But I also know my sister and brother-in-law can't really afford to pay me back. And they're blowing up my phone and calling me heartless for giving them the ultimatum when I know they are nearly broke after the holidays. Am I the idiot for doing that? Update. Well, I went to the police. I tried to work with my sister and brother-in-law when I called them this morning because I didn't want to wait till after they were done with work to speak with them. Not only did they refuse any sort of suggested way of repaying me, they actually said that it was my fault for having the cans there to begin with. They said I tempted my nephews with the money. I was enraged and said I was done with them. Then they started blowing up my phone all over again. My eldest nephew sent me a picture of him holding a soda can and giving me the finger. So that was it. I went to the police station and filed the report. Gave them a copy of the video footage of my nephews stealing from my shed. I gave them the broken lock they smashed. Showed them all of the texts, which were screenshotted and also given as evidence. Heck, I even gave them the photo my eldest nephew sent me of him flipping me off. I don't know if my nephews have been arrested yet. But I'm assured they will be. Perhaps some community service will change their attitudes. I did tell police that I found it worrisome that my nephews had taken the machete. But it was as I thought. They classified it as a tool. Especially since they took a lot of other actual tools. Other than the machete, they also took some gardening shears, a steel rake, 2 shovels, one of them being one of those folding camping ones, a full 2-gallon gas can, a cheap power drill I got for like $5 used, an electric hedge trimmer, and a small electric chainsaw that was also used. They didn't touch the lawn mower, weed whacker, extension cords, or the old radio I had in there. No idea why they took what they did. But I guess they figured they could resell them or something. But I got all of that back, minus the gas that was in the gas can. No idea what they used it for. But it was old gas anyway. After they first broke into my shed, they took what they could by hand. And then they came back with some shopping carts that I'm guessing they also stole. But it took them a few trips to get all of the cans. And they didn't bother to even try and close the door when they were done. Either way though, my nephews are now in trouble for trespassing, larceny and harassment. I'm sure either today or tomorrow my phone is gonna be blowing up like mad when the cops come for those kids. But I said it was my hill to die on, and I meant it. I don't even care if I get the money back now. They had their chance. I've already replaced the lock on the shed with a much stronger one. And the machete will no longer be kept in the shed. I've also talked to a few of my neighbors about what happened. They told me cans have actually been going missing around the neighborhood lately. If anybody had a bag of cans sitting out, it'd get stolen. Can't say if my nephews were the culprits. But if they were, then they've been doing this for months. I've also spoken with my relatives. And they're fed up with my sister and brother-in-law too. So they're all on my side at least. Which is good to know. I was worried they'd turn on me since I filed the police report. But no, I just got a lot of good for you, and it's about damn time those kids faced some justice. I wasn't the only one in the family they stole from. Many in the comments tried to say I should offer that my nephews work off the $200. There's no way I was going to do that. The little butts hate doing any work they don't want to do. And will just stand around griping and acting like the world is against them. And they'd have to be supervised the entire time. Which is another thing I don't want to do. Plus, I banned them from my house for good reason. The theft started with food and snacks. And then went on to DVDs and video games. That made me start putting my initials on cases and discs with permanent markers. So I was able to show when my nephews had taken something of mine. They tried the, "oh, he let us borrow them" excuse a few times. But I always called bull. And then made them return the stuff they took. Which they always acted like I was a jerk for doing. And then when they were made to apologize to me each time, they were the fakest apologies I've ever heard. The final straw that banned my nephews from my house was when they used the spare hidden key to my house to get in and stole 3 6-packs of my favorite blood orange beer from my fridge, along with raiding my kitchen for anything else they wanted. One of them took a dump in my bathroom and not only didn't flush, but also intentionally pissed on the floor. They tried to say it wasn't them. But I knew it was. The beer they stole was even hidden in their room. My sister and brother-in-law barely punished them and basically gave me an equivalent to boys will be boys. Then berated me when I said they and their kids were no longer welcome at my home ever again. And that's all why I got the cameras. When I had them installed, I told no one. Which was a very smart idea because my nephews had no idea they were there when they broke into my shed. Guess I was their easiest target. When I can afford it, I plan to get more cameras inside my house too. Not the idiot. Though I do think your nephews should be held responsible for paying you back, sell the video games they got, or return them. If they are old enough to steal, they are old enough to sell some of their stuff to pay you back for their behavior. Though of course, your brother-in-law and sister should have expected that you'd want to be reimbursed and they have no right to get angry at you, if their children are actual criminals. I feel like, depending on the justice system, their ages and the consequences, a report may be the best outcome. What they stole honestly sounds dangerous in kids' hands and they really planned this. To be honest, they stole a machete, a weapon. That crap should have been brought to the police's attention ASAP. Edit to add. People have pointed out it's actually a gardening/agricultural tool, but that doesn't negate that it can be extremely dangerous, and considering their repeated criminal behavior, that is premeditated/pre-planned by the sounds of it, we don't know their intention for taking it. No one commenting, replying, excusing, downplaying or reasoning the nephew's behavior or their stealing/breaking and entering as typical crappy and impulsive teenage behavior can be certain that what they planned to do with those things were non-violent or non-criminal, which is why the police should be involved. Even though it could be non-violent or non-criminal, it also could be, and their behavior could continue to escalate or get worse. They already committed a crime, which it sounds like OP gave them mercy and didn't call the police the first time, so they came back thinking they could get away with it again, and may have already committed others that OP doesn't know about with his gasoline and his machete. They need more consequences than just selling the video games, in my opinion, because whatever has been done up to this point so far is ineffective, and selling would either make them steal from OP again or target someone else. They broke in, damaged property, stole property, and seemed to have planned it in advance. This is a repeated crime apparently, so they could have already done it to others or will do it again to OP. My nephews are thieves and have stolen from me before. That's why I got the cameras. This right here. Your sister and brother-in-law should be making the kids do whatever needs doing to pay you back. You are owed restitution. Going to the police is unfortunate, but apparently no one in their family is taking this seriously. If it had been my kid, I'd have taken the games back to wherever they were purchased and see if I could get a refund or take their stuff to GameStop or eBay and sell it, or make our kid work for the money and pay you back over a period of time. Lawns always need mowing, snow shoveled, etc. Expecting you to just suck it up makes your sis and brother-in-law totally idiots along with their kids. You, however, not the idiot.